Hello and welcome. You know, we've been getting more than our fair share of rain up here in Maine lately. So when we finally got a dry sunny day, I took advantage and I went for a ride on my Trek Domane AL3. I love that bike and I was eager for the opportunity to ride it. Okay, so here's something that annoys me sometimes. Most of the time, I can clip in and go on the first try. But every once in a while, like just now, it takes me several tries to get clipped in, and I have no idea why. I mean, I've been doing it long enough now that it is very nearly second nature. I can do it without thinking for the most part. And yet, every once in a while, I don't know why, I just can't get it right. Now, this particular stretch of road is actually a pretty good ride. You get some decent climbs and some decent descents. And in my opinion, the descents make up for the climbs. I'm not a good climber. I freely admit that. Although I have taken recently to doing climbs out of the saddle, and I seem to have better luck doing that than I do doing them seated. And I guess I have found the secret, such as it may be. I don't know. All I know is I'm now able to climb some hills that used to just, well, defeat me. And I'm also finding recently something strange, and it may be tied into this new hill climbing paradigm that I've got. And that is that on Strava, the calculated power output for myself has increased quite a bit. In this particular ride, when I looked at the statistics afterwards, my average, and I stress average, power was 125 watts. Now, clearly, that doesn't hold a candle to anything in the pro peloton. But to put it in context, my usual power output is around 65 to 70 watts. And I noticed that it started going up into the triple digits when I started going up the hills, standing rather than seated, and going up the hills all the way without stopping. I know, stopping is a certain kind of defeat, but you know what? I'm not racing. I'm not on anybody's schedule but my own. So if I want to stop and catch my breath, I'm going to do it. That's all there is. No excuses, no rationalization. I'm just going to do it. So anyway, back to the point at hand. I'm really kind of excited about these new power levels, and I'm anxious to see if it holds true throughout the rest of the summer. Now, I do a mix of road and mountain biking, so I'm not sure that's going to translate directly to mountain biking because there's just so much more variability. Having said that, I do like this particular road, as I said, and there's a couple of miles of this road which are really good, and I find that I hit this kind of a, well, for lack of a better phrase, a sweet spot where the grade, my speed, cadence, and my effort, and the particular gear that I happen to be in, which is usually around third or fourth on the cassette and the big ring up front, it just, everything comes together and it's just a perfect situation. And oh man, I would love if the entire ride was like that. But I guess, that's not the way it works. You get that quid pro quo. If you want to go fast on the descents, you got to get to the top of the hill. And if you want to get to the top of the hill, well, you got to put the effort in to climb. And I guess at some point, when I'm old and decrepit, and I say that laughingly, I'm not serious, I may get myself an e-bike. But it won't have a throttle. No. Pedal assist only. In the meantime, one thing I'm thinking about doing to this bike is upgrading the cassette. This bike is somewhat unique in my collection in that I haven't touched a thing on it except for new bar tape, because the stock stuff was kind of stretchy and thin. Oh, and I did have to replace the seat post because the original measured 27.0 instead of 27.2, so it would not stay put. Let me tell you, that was annoying. And again, there's a video in the playlist for that. Anyway, this bike is my favorite, hands down. As I say, I haven't touched much on it because it's pretty much perfect for me. The geometry and the fit is spot on. Now, as I have said before, I have back issues, but with this bike, it fits me so very well that I could just ride until my legs explode and not have one hint of back pain. And I cannot stress to you what a joy that is to ride pain-free. Or maybe you know. I shouldn't assume that I'm the only one who has issues, so I won't. But this bike does not exacerbate my issues. In fact, you could say it mitigates them. That said, it's got an 11 to 32 tooth Shimano Sora cassette, and the Sora 9-speed derailleur will take up to a 34. So I am thinking that an easy upgrade would be to replace the cassette with an 11 to 34 tooth to give me just a little bit more of an advantage climbing. And honestly, I'm not proud. I'll take any advantage that I can lay my hot little hands on. Another thing I'm thinking about doing is upgrading the brake rotors. Now here's the thing. These are the stock Shimano rotors, and they work just fine for the mechanical disc brakes. I could upgrade to hydraulics, but then I gotta upgrade the handles and the shifters and all that stuff, and it's a pain in the neck. So what I'm going to do is get a set of those Shimano Ice Tech rotors that have slightly thicker rotor width or cross section, and they dissipate heat better. That coupled with perhaps some semi-metallic brake pads, we'll see about that. I gotta check if that's compatible. But at any rate, by putting better brake components on the bike, I should be able to haul it down just as easily as, I say easily, just as easily as I can get it going fast. And that's kind of true on the flats, and it's certainly true going downhill. And all in all, this was a great ride. I got out, got some fresh air, got a little too much sunshine, if you catch my drift. I come from Norwegian and Irish extraction. The sun has never been my friend. And yes, I do use sunblock. But again, this was just a gorgeous ride, nice scenery, met a couple of nice people along the way, and about halfway through the ride, I stopped at the Sheepscot General Store, and I got myself a Maine Root brand ginger beer. That's got so much ginger in it, it makes me sneeze. And I followed that with a chocolate chip chocolate scone. Oh yeah. And I justified that as mid-ride refueling. Like I need an excuse for goodies. So anyway, I hope you've been enjoying this point of view ride. I wanted to share what a great day I had on the bike. And if you do want to learn more about the Domane, there's a playlist lower left, as I mentioned earlier, and there's a video lower right that you might enjoy. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate that. Goodbye and have a wonderful day.